Welcome back to another Fallout 76 video on the channel, and today we're going to be discussing some possible theories related to the recently announced Season 14 dubbed United We Stand, which was featured on the new community calendar. So without any further ado, let's dive right on in. Now, before we discuss any of these theories, I just want to point out these are just theories. As clearly stated in the title and thumbnail to this video, this is just a theory. So before you think, clickbait, no, as I said, it's a theory, not fact. And I'm making this video because I enjoy discussing these kind of things. So before you think, how could he possibly know anything about the new season? Sure, Season 13 hasn't even kicked off yet. Does he have some kind of insider knowledge? No, I don't. At the time of this recording, Season 13 hasn't even been released yet, so some of these theories we're about to discuss will probably seem like a massive stretch. I mean, as big of a stretch like Stretch Armstrong. And for you folk who didn't grow up in the 90s, Stretch Armstrong was a toy, and a very fun toy for that matter. So I'd probably take most of this with a grain of salt. But on the other hand, it's good to discuss things like this and let the floodgates open, because it gets people talking and generally gets people hyped to see what will actually become of future content. So, like I said, Season 13 hasn't even been released yet, and so far we have absolutely zero information regarding the next season. The PTS hasn't even opened up yet to even playtest any of the upcoming patches mentioned on the community calendar, and we don't have any data mined images relating to any upcoming seasons or Atomic Shop releases, but all we have so far is a name: Season 14 United We Stand. So, diving into the first theory, I had to do a little bit of digging in regards to this, because as I said, there's not much to go on. But I thought to myself, considering Bethesda love to tease future content on their scoreboards, community calendars, and in the game itself, would I possibly find a reference or hint of this anywhere? So, looking at the community calendar and taking a look at the next few months, I thought to myself, maybe the artwork would give me a lead. And well, it didn't. Because as I quickly realized, the artwork used on the calendar, and specifically when it comes to the different months shown, all of this artwork is from the new Season 13 scoreboard, so that was kind of a bit of a dead end. But who knows, maybe these two people wearing power armor might have something to do with it. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So I put on my detective hat and off to the Holy Grail I went: Reddit. And to my surprise, I wasn't the only one speculating about the theme of this Season 14 title, and as I browsed through the thread of 45 potential theories and possibilities, I noticed something that one user mentioned in regards to a perk from Fallout 4. So, if you might have forgotten or never came across this particular perk, because quite simply, Preston Garvey was always a royal pain in my and to be honest, a lot of people got tired of hearing the phrase, "There's another settlement that needs our help." But if you were more on the side of befriending this companion, unlike me, where quite simply Preston Garvey hates my guts.
I trusted you once, never again. Some things are unforgivable. I'm done trying to get through to you.
Yeah, you don't want to know what I did to tick him off. But anyway, if you manage to reach max affinity with Preston Garvey, you would then unlock the perk United We Stand. See, I can tell already your curiosity has now been tickled. But don't get your hopes up though, because firstly, the only thing that this perk did was that it would give you a damage buff and a damage resistant buff while in combat. So not really much to go on there. However, as mentioned by this user, they speculated that this season could be somewhat Minutemen themed. But considering the Minutemen didn't exist until 2180, I don't think that's where this season is headed. But other people mentioned that it could be a nice precursor to the formation of the Minutemen, or possibly a season that could be American patriotic or Civil War related. But I don't know, do you think we could see something Minutemen themed? Moving on to the next theory, and something I kind of thought sounded very plausible, was that of the Free States making a return and somewhat being themed around this season. Now, before we get into how this could be a possibility, I just want to quickly point out that having particular factions that have been featured, or have never been featured in Fallout 76, has never stopped Bethesda in the past, because quite simply, we do have references to iconic factions from different Fallout games already, such as the Fallout First outfit, the NCR Ranger outfit, and also the Revolutionary General's uniform, which can be debated on whether it's more Minutemen themed or even Free States themed, but I lean more towards Minutemen. But anyway, as some have speculated already, United We Stand sounds somewhat Free States themed, and considering the Free States were a sub-faction of pre-war anarchists hailing from the region around Appalachia, they feared imminent nuclear carnage, and also distrusted the government's ties to Vault-Tec, which led their members to construct bunkers to survive a potential nuclear holocaust. And even this is though pretty much who they were and what they did, they eventually were wiped out by the Scorched Plague in 2102. So unless there could have been some Free State survivors hiding in some of the bunkers spread across the mire that we've yet to discover, I'm not too sure that Season 14 will lean this way. But I have to agree, it would be pretty cool to see the Free States make a return, considering how many unused bunkers there are out there in the mire. But who knows, could the Free States make a return? soon. And finally, the last theory, and probably one of the most plausible and very likely theories to come out of all of this, is that Season 14 United We Stand could and might be possibly themed around the Enclave. That's right, United We Stand could possibly be themed around the Enclave, and here's why I feel August and the fact that we could more than likely see patch 46 land on the same day of the Season 14 release date could be a reality and something to really keep an eye on. So we have to consider firstly that when it comes to each patch that Bethesda implements at different stages throughout the year, some of these patches can be fairly small and just feature some quality of life improvements, hot fixes and just general improvements under the hood. But some of these patches have not only featured the release of new scoreboards, but also major updates, such as the Locked and Loaded update, the Night of the Moth update, Mutation Invasion, and kicking off next Tuesday, June 20th, the Once in a Blue Moon update, which will feature a handful of story content and events all themed around the Blue Ridge Caravan Company. So considering this, we have to really entertain the fact that considering some of these patches entail major updates that coincide with a small dose of story content and events, it's not out of the realms of possibility that patch 46 alongside Season 14 United We Stand could more than likely feature the same package of content that we're about to receive with the Season 13 and the Once in a Blue Moon update, but with this future release could be heavily themed around the Enclave. It's not surprising to know, unless you don't interact with certain NPCs, that when new characters have been previously introduced with major updates, some of them have had dialogue discussing certain locations and factions that we've eventually seen with major releases. One such example of this is that when you listen to some of the dialogue that some of the NPCs around Foundation discuss when it comes to the Pit.
Pittsburgh, born and bred. My roots went back there for 5 generations. Had to leave though. It's just don't go north. Trust me.
And then roughly a year or two later, we eventually travel to the Pit with the release of Expeditions. But alongside the Expeditions update, we also received a whole cast of characters that you can interact with at the White Springs Resort. And one such character that you can interact with is Orlando, who apparently is the mysterious manager of the White Springs Resort. However, when you interact with them and discuss their backstory, they reveal some hints that they were tasked by the management to support the responders' operations and distributing ultrasight cells to the leaders of the new community. Let's take a listen.
My dear, nothing would bring me more joy than to answer your questions. Your suspicions wound me. However, my employer values their privacy as highly as they value the fine work the responders are doing here. Suffice it to say, they are the owners of the White Spring, as I believe I've mentioned.
When they're just wearing a bow tie and not shooting lasers at you.
Darling, I wish you would not press on this issue. I value our burgeoning friendship, but you place me in an awkward position. Oh, that disappointed look on your face. You do know how to weaken my resolve. What can I say? It would be terrible if I were to betray one trust to secure yours. You wouldn't want that for your Orlando, would you? I can tell you this. They are believers in the American dream, one they wish to see restored. The refuge is a small step on that path. I won't speak to their minds, my dear, but I will tell you what I believe, and I hope that will be sufficient answer. America was meant to be a land of opportunity. A place where anyone could find a freedom to build a life worth living. The refuge is a first step to rebuilding a society bigger than any one settlement. To say, we are in this together. Forgive me, darling. I do get a bit emotional on the subject. What have I done to so earn your distrust, dear heart? I hoped you might consider me a friend by now. Yes, management is real. If it will restore some faith in me, perhaps I could divulge just the slightest detail without betraying anything. I work directly for Mr. Otis, the chairman, the very tip-top of the organization, a generous if demanding boss. Now please, darling, don't pry further. I only tell you this much because I value our relationship. As much as I enjoy our chats and relish your company, you simply must let this go, darling. I owe my life to Mr. Otis, and will not betray his trust or his judgment. I must be adamant. Please, love, do not ask me this again. It would hurt me to think you do not respect my wishes. I don't understand what you mean, my dear. What is a modus? I've never heard of such a thing. No, darling. Just Mr. Otis and the White Spring management.
So, it's kind of obvious that considering that the White Springs was previously owned or in control of the Enclave, it's very clear that this management that Orlando refers to is probably the Enclave. And you have to entertain this fact because even if you look at the fact that Orlando was tasked with distributing ultrasight cells to the responders, who else in Appalachia, bar the Brotherhood of Steel, would have that kind of technology? So this is where I feel, and like many people are hoping for, that Season 14 United We Stand alongside Patch 46 could more than likely be the Enclave expansion we've all been looking for. Because you also have to look at the fact that the Brotherhood of Steel have already had their big major DLC expansion with Steel Dawn and also Steel Reign, but this was back when Bethesda Game Studios Austin were heavily involved with the development of Fallout 76, but have now moved on to Starfield. But with Patch 46, and if this could be a potential Enclave expansion, and we also have to look at the real possibility that this could be the only Enclave expansion we might receive, or because Fallout 76 now has several other studios now supporting the game, with Double 11 being one to name, this could probably be a precursor to a major Enclave expansion we might possibly see next year. And lastly, given that the name is United We Stand, it does somewhat sound Enclave themed. But again, all of these are just theories, and they're just exactly that, theories. And until we hear more information and start to see some data mine images, we don't really know. But it is good to have these discussions, because as I said, it creates general hype and excitement for future content down the road. And who knows, we could look back on this video after Season 14's release and could say, wow, you were really wrong on that one, Pineapple. Or we could say, well, would you look at that, we were right. But this is where we've come to the end of the video and where I open it up to you for discussion. Let me know below in the comments what you think about some of these theories, as I'd love to hear your thoughts on what's on the horizon. We'll have more videos on the way covering the upcoming Season 13 and the Once in a Blue Moon update. So if you don't want to miss out and want to be kept up to date with everything Fallout related, consider clicking that subscribe button and turning on that bell notification button. And if you'd like to support me and the channel and enjoy today's video, consider dropping a like. And before we head on out, I want to say a big thank you to our channel members for your continued support and dedication to the channel. And of course, to all of our subscribers who've helped the channel to grow. If you're also looking at picking up some Bethesda theme items over on the Bethesda store, you can use my creator code BTPineapple063 to receive 20% off of your purchases at checkout. And if you'd like to support the channel a little bit more personally, consider checking out my merch store, which has an array of t-shirts, mugs, prints, and other pineapple themed merch, which I'll leave in a link in the description of this video. And lastly, to you, the viewer, the person who stumbled upon this video, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, Vault Dwellers, stay safe out there in the wasteland. Welcome to Vault 93, and I'll catch you all in the next video.